So, roughly 6 years ago, I was still a pretty normal university student. One day I got the flu, I recovered from it, then I got a series of viral infections following that. And then one day I just woke up really lightheaded and dizzy and overall unwell. And that kind of marked the start of my journey into ME/CFS. From that day on, I just kept getting worse. I kept getting more and more symptoms, more and more frequently, and my energy just kept decreasing. So roughly 1 year into this whole thing, I was lying maybe 22 hours a day in bed. I couldn't really do much more than that. So at that point, I had slowly come to figure out that I likely had ME/CFS because my symptoms pretty much aligned with all the key symptoms, including post-exertional malaise, which is kind of a unique one. Then you quickly find out that there's no official cure, and you might join some communities online and you just start to see all the despair and misery that this illness is causing and the hopelessness that people have, paired with your current reality of pure misery. So obviously you're gonna be completely broken. So once you get past that initial stage of high panic, anxiety, fear, you might go through the 5 stages of grief and you might end up at some level of acceptance. So when you go through an illness like that, you're likely gonna lose most of your identity. Because if you think about it, most people's identities are heavily linked to their professions, their interests, maybe their social life and other things that they do or enjoy doing. But when you're so physically and cognitively limited that you're pretty much bound to your bed or your bedroom, you can't meet anyone, you can't work obviously, and you just can't even think that much about things, then what are you at that point? A lot of the time it really just felt like I was living or existing rather as this human body, as this shell of a human body, but there wasn't much inside besides suffering. So one thing that has been incredibly helpful and important for me throughout this entire time was actually my phone. I know a lot of people these days are telling people to spend less time on their phones and on social media, and I totally think that is the right thing to do. But when your world is so tiny that you start to not feel like you're part of it anymore, then your phone becomes kind of a gate to this larger world that you've been excluded from. It's a bit of a drug, but it also is just something that helps you feel still a bit connected to the world. So it's been 6 years now, and I've come not a long way, but I'm doing better than at my worst. And I'm able to go on a walk like this, not every day, but occasionally, which is already a huge thing for me. I think when you get really sick, you inevitably start to appreciate all the little things that you might not have appreciated as much when you were healthy. So one thing that's been incredibly important for me throughout this whole journey has been my optimism. Basically being optimistic that I'll one day get better. I don't know if it's the right approach for everyone with this illness, but at least for me it's been really, really important. Because at times it was the only thing that kept me going, that kept me from giving up. I know I mentioned acceptance earlier, but I think there's still, at least for me, there's this distinction between accepting that I have this illness, but maybe not accepting that I will always be in this state. Especially when you're in a really bad state of the illness and your symptom load is incredibly high, you're not getting sleep and you have very little energy. It's very hard to accept that you're gonna be like this for the rest of your life. So at least for me, it is important to believe that one day I will be better. And so, yeah, I'm gonna continue with my optimism and hope to continue to slowly expand my world bit by bit. And maybe I can take some of you guys with me on this journey. So yeah, I hope to see you guys again. Just one quick final message to anyone watching who's also dealing with ME/CFS or any other debilitating illness, or who's struggling with anything really in life. I wish you all the strength in the world, and let's hope for better days to come.